Welcome to the show. I'm Vivian Kobsin-Jabrechal, your host, and my special guest again on this show is Dr. Maher ZAHAR from Tunisia and a member of the International Olympic Committee. And we're going to be talking about his role at the recently concluded Olympics in Paris and what that meant. But first, welcome to the show, Dr. ZAHAR.
Thank you, Vivian, and thank you for inviting me to express my feeling, my opinion after 1 month in Paris during the last Olympic Games.
Yeah, first of all, you mentioned 1 month. That is a long time. So how come that you spent a whole month, and in relation to the number, how long the games were?
Yes, we spent 1 month because we arrived in Paris around 10 days before the games. We need to prepare all the requirement for the medical fields, the polyclinic. You know that in each game there is a polyclinic into the Olympic village for the athletes and for the member of the Olympic family. This polyclinic was dedicated to the treatment of the athletes and the member of the Olympic family. So we need to be here before the games to implement, to work with the local committee, with the French committee in this case in Paris, to all the requirement for this clinic and for the value and for the principle of Olympic Committee according to the games.
Well, maybe I should even backtrack a little bit. For those who have not, been watched previous interviews, can you tell us about yourself a little bit, like what your different roles are? There are so many. I can't summarize them well, but can you tell us what you do and how you got into the International Olympic Committee?
Yes, in fact, my principal job, I am orthodontist. I'm orthodontist and I am working in the area of clinical research in orthodontics from more than 30 years. But in same times, I am also graduate in sports dentistry from the University of Lyon in French. And I am working in the area of sports dentistry for many years with the Tunisian team, of course, with the Tunisian high-level athletes, but also with many international high-level athletes. I work in the area of musculoskeletal disease problem and the impact or maybe the relationship between the oral health disease and their impact on musculoskeletal health problem. So I work in according to the approach of integrative medicine, where all the parts of the body, of the human body, can have an impact on the well-being and on the health of the human. And in this area, one of the fields where we do as a researcher, but also all the scientific community do many advancement and many growth is the area of sports medicine, because today in sports medicine we are working also on the preparation of the athletes to the performances. We are not here to only to treat the athletes, but we are also here to prevent, and why not, to prepare the athlete to the performances. So with all of this skill, orthodontics, sports dentistry, muscular balance, I was integrated in many medical team of athletes, and I was nominated as member of the medical commission of the International Olympic Committee. I am also vice president of the International Federation of Sports Medicine, and I am, in fact, my real job I am clinical researcher in sports dentistry in Tunisia and in some other standing university.
You see, this is why I said your achievements are so many that sometimes it's been hard to keep track. Every time I blink, you have a new role. But you're doing amazing work. And just to take us to the recently concluded Olympics, what was your involvement? Can you tell us a little bit more and how that involvement, was shaped?
In fact, from many years, I think from more than 70 years, the International Olympic Committee decided to implement policy to prevent any trauma and health problem for the athletes who participate to the Olympic Games. And in this approach, they introduce the fact that the International Olympic Committee provide the mouth guard for all the athletes who participate into the fighting sports. So the International Olympic Committee have the responsibility to treat the athletes in case of trauma, in case of injuries, but also to prevent the occurrence of trauma, of injuries by adopting preventive policy. This is one of my big mission into the games. And for this mission, the International Olympic Committee implement their own oral health department who have the responsibility to organize with the local committee of Paris all the oral health department. And for the first time for this game, we change the name of the department. Until now, the name of the department is sports dentistry, but we introduce the new name, who is, I think, the name of the future, the name who is more close to the approach of the practice of dentistry in the future, who is oral health department. Because today we can more speak about oral health, about gum and gingival problems, about tooth problems, about muscular disease or muscular problem, than only about dental disease. Dental disease is a part of a global specialty who include muscular, gingival, and many other areas. So this is the main mission I have to realize. But in same times, today, sports medicine is a team practice. So we are many specialists around the table who are working together for the athlete health, but also for the athlete performances, and also for protecting the athletes. So the other part of my mission is to collaborate with the other specialists to implement what we consider to be the good approach to help the athletes to realize performances, to help the athletes to practice in good condition during the game. You know, we have one Olympic Games every 4 years. And globally, each athlete work 4 years for this small moment. Sometimes it's less than 1 minute for being at the top of his form at this moment. We have the responsibility with the team to help the athletes to be on the top of his health and his performances in this moment.
Well, that's a big job, especially for athletes, like you said, who have been training for years and years just to you're providing the guidelines within which they can perform safely. And maybe my question would be, what has been your observation with the different teams coming from different countries? These countries have different capabilities and different tools for these athletes to train. When they come to the Olympics, are there any significant differences in their health, and or yeah, what has been your observation as you're working with them?
There is many observations. First of all, I think today the sports take much more value into the society, and this gives the athletes the power to do their best for the performances. Each one of the athletes who are engaged into the games believe that he can win. He can, even when he come from country who don't have many not only many big activity, but also many experience in this area in the preparation of athletes. Because now what we observe, all of the high level athletes work into some of the big university in US and some of the big teams into Europe and Asia. So for preparing the Olympic Games, you need to be during the 4 years before the Games into one of these major teams. That's the first fact. The second fact, if you want to be the number one, you want to work a little bit much more than the other. So more of them have the same global approach of the preparation of the athletes, but there is small differences, and these small differences make the change into the final results. These small differences make the little differences who give us the winner and who give us the splendid picture at the end of the competition. So this kind of not only sports preparation, but also medical preparation need to be prepared few years before, need to be realized by high-level experts in the field of medicines, the field of sports medicine, and need to be adopted by the athletes. It's at the end global and team working with sharing of the goal and with sharing of the decision. So we put together all our energy to realize our aim, our objective at the end, who is during the game. That's the big change. And the second change, now you have many specialists in the area of sports. Some small country don't have big tradition in sports, create a new tradition in some sports. Saint Lucie, who in athletics, don't have a big tradition. Jamaica don't have a big tradition until 20 years before. Now Jamaica have a big tradition in athletics. So they create a kind of knowledge in these sports, a kind of experience in these sports that give them more ability to realize performances. And I think this is beautiful for sports because we have which not many money and many investment. We can have big nation into some sports, and it's at the end give us more beautiful spectacle, more beautiful competition, and more beautiful matches during the games.
Well, that's very. Thank you for that explanation and insight into what you've seen regarding athletes at the Olympics. So back to your advisory role, like how many advisors does the International Olympic Committee have, and of those, like how many are specializing with medicine, with sports medicine?
There is, I think, around 20 advisor into the Olympic Committee as a member of the Medical Commission, and the Olympic Committee can ask for any other advisor in any other specialty when he realize that this kind of approach report can help the athletes for better compete and for better realize. For myself, for the sports dentistry appear into the medical team for high level athletes around 20 to 25 years now. In the beginning, in some big sports like football, soccer, like boxing, because they participate to providing the athletes individualized mouth guard and customized mouth guard. Also for other sports like basketball, we watch together all the competitions of the NBA. Major part of the players wear mouth guard during the games because they protect their tooth, but at the same time, they correct their muscular balance, and the mouth guard participate to the performance. The mouth guard participate to the better recovery for the athletes. So, and from this moment, they have a continuous growth, the sports dentistry. Now, I think no one can explain how we can obtain beautiful muscular balance without taking in care the fact and the reality of the oral health. It's a part of our reflection. It's a part and it's a big dimension of our approach. So many other specialties also appear into the sports medicine, ophthalmology. Today, many sports medicine team work in ophthalmology to correct the eyes health and to permit to the athletes to have better performances with better eyes health. Every 2-3 years, we have a new specialty who work and become slowly member of the medical team. When I begin to working in this area about 25 years before, the medical team have 5 to 6 members, physiotherapists, sports physician, nutritionist. That's all. Now the medical team of high-level athletes have around 18 to 20 members, 2 or 3 sports physicians, 1 or 2 physiotherapists, each one in his specialty, one in charge of the recovery, one in charge of the preparation just before the games, sports dentist, biologist, pharmacist. One of the new specialty into the area of sports medicine is the pharmacist. You know that intake of drugs is totally different in depend of the hour of the intake, how we take with, and how many times before the games. Many details who participate to the realization of the performances. And sports and history, oral health are today one of the major parts of all this team and participate with big impact into the realization of performances. So we are many advisors, each one in his area, in his field of specialty. But I think this group need to move every games and to become much bigger, because we need other specialists to have a uh, better performances and better competition.
Right. Oh, this is such a detailed explanation, or into the structuring of the advisors. But one of the, as you were speaking, one of the things that came to my mind was artificial intelligence, especially if there is a lot of dental work being done, or just uh, physical therapies and all that. So is AI being used so far in the medical approach, or has it survived this year, and maybe plan to include AI in sports medicine in the future? What is that landscape like, both today and for the future?
You know, first of all, you know that the next game is in LA
Oh yeah.
in 2028. And delay in innovation and in technology is on the top of the city in the world. For now, for these games, there is very small uh, participation of EA into the sports medicine. Not big. Some teams have their own solution, they have their own software, and they work with that. But what I think for LA, and before there is, there is also the Winter Games who take every 4 years. The next Winter Games is in Milan Cortina in Italy. I think the individual data will be one of the official records of the health athletes. So this approach will introduce after the EA into the sports medicine. When each athlete arrived to the game with his own data, with his own medical history from many years, with his own record of X-ray and biological examination, we can, at this moment, implement some solution of EA to help the athletes to perform, to prevent the injuries, and to do what we consider as our job, to do our best for the health of the athletes, but also for the performance of the athletes. Today, a good sports physician is the physician who can prevent the injury, protect the athlete health, but also participate to the realization of the performances. You need to have all these three skills if you want to work in high level sports medicine area.
No, thank you. I know I ambushed you with that question, but I was just curious because I mean everybody's talking about AI, and
I sure.
and you and I, we met at Harvard. Harvard is now big on AI. So it's great that you've shared some of the solutions are beginning to exist in these spaces, and as you mentioned, LA in 4 years time, I'm sure there's going to be so many AI applications at the time. But yeah, is there anything we haven't talked about regarding your role as an advisor to the International Olympic Committee? As part of the health commission, the committee, health commission, is it? Is that how it's?
Yes,
Yes. So, is there anything
Health
we've
and
left out?
Scientific Commission.
Health and Scientific Commission. Excellent. Is there anything that we have left out that you'd like to say now? I mean, I'll bring you back next time. You're now one of my frequent guests, but
I think two important fields I need to speak about. The first one is that in same times during the games, there is many research projects. So we believe that we need to transmit our knowledge for the future game and for the future organizer and for the future team who will work with LA in this case or with other games. And this part of our job is not known by the large public, by the spectators. Many public persons to the public don't know that in same times we have to treat and protect the athletes, but in same times we have the mission of sharing our knowledge. And sharing our knowledge also need to be a part of the research project implemented by the IOC. So after the games, now the games is finished, many teams, also some teams from university, also in Massachusetts, in your state, are working on research project to publish the news, the advancement in science according to what are applied during the games. And I think is a very important fact that spectators and passionate by sports need to know. There is a continuous working after the games. That's one of the 2 points I need to explain. The second point, and for me, as a practitioner coming from Africa, for the International Olympic Committee, it's very important that all the country and all the athletes have the same assessment and following of their health during the games. So for the high level approach of sports medicine and for the normal approach of sports medicine, all the athletes participating to the games have the same access. And it's for me important because it's the real value of the Olympic spirit. You do a big effort to be qualified to the Olympic Games, and then the International Olympic Committee do their best to give you the better health you can obtain for performances and for winning and for participating to the games. So there is no differences between the country. There is no differences. The unique differences is with your performances, and you have to do your best if you want to. I think it's the two major parts, and the third, the last one, what I learned when I observe the big nation like US, uh, the game is 4 years of working and few minutes of participating. Preparing the games take 4 years. Even in oral health, you have to implement the good policy just after these games to do your following and your assessment regularly during all the 4 years before the games, and then to await for winning and to await for medals. But if you don't do what you have to do during all the 4 years before the game, don't await the medal during the games.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Zahar, for that insight because I had not thought about it. That, this part of your job is to provide that kind of research that, feeds into how to improve the medical part of the Olympics for the future games. And so that is certainly something new for me to learn. And just like you said, it's continuous work. It's what happens after the Olympics. It's collecting the data, what went well, what needs improvement. And so this is great, and I hope we can continue talking about these processes before the Olympics happen or right after the Olympics, the next steps, because oftentimes we don't think about that. So thank you for that insight. And with that, really, I would like to say thank you for coming back to tell us about your experiences and in sports medicine at the Olympics. And it's always a joy to have you on my show. I still keep saying I'm coming to Tunisia, but it hasn't yet happened. But it's in the
You
works.
are welcome in Tunisia. We are waiting you from many times now. You still said I am coming, but
I promise I'm gonna make it happen now that some of the things are out of the way. But again, thank you for being my guest on this show. And
thank you.
and to our viewers, I hope you've learned more about what happens with the International Olympic Committee, the advisors like Dr. Zahar, who go to make these games the best that they are, and some of what we see, especially in the area of supporting the athletes, so that they're healthy and well during and after the Olympics. And with that, thank you for watching this episode. Till next time.